So we're live. Thanks for tuning in. This is a Notebook Check live stream on YouTube this time. Last one was on Facebook. Hope you enjoyed that one, but we're going to try YouTube. And the reason is I want to make sure that we get this done in one take, and then we can leave the video up on YouTube. It's going to make things quicker for me, which means I can do more video reviews for you for Notebook Check. Today we've got the Acer Switch Alpha. And I'm going to give you some specifications on the device. I'm going to give you some of our test results. So importantly, things about the display, about the battery life, performance, and our overall score, which you can see on the screen there already, 87%. So this 12-inch device scored 87%. Why has it scored more than most of the other 12-inch 2-in-1s? Well, the reason is this has got a proper Core i5 inside. So a dual core, non-Core M, so this is Ultrabook standard Core i5 inside here. Similar to what you see on the Surface Pro 4, Surface Book 4 as well. And the other interesting thing is this starts at €800 with 4 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. That the screen resolution, I'm going to have to quickly peek at that because it's 2160 by 1440. It's a 3:2 ratio screen. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the minute. But first of all, let's just take a look around the device. And I'm going to start by just looking at the keyboard. And as you can see here, it's a proper keyboard with proper mechanics. And it's not bad. It's not backlit, but actually it feels a little bit like the latest Surface Pro 3 and 4 keyboards. And it's got a nice feel to it. And really, you're probably going to get a lot of work done on that. The feeling is pretty much the same as most other keyboards. I've got a feeling that this is going to almost match the Mix 700 for keyboard quality. There's the loop for the pen, giving away the fact that the screen supports stylus. We haven't got the stylus with this review model, but there is one available. There's a couple of other little features as well I'll talk to you about. But first, let us take a look at the device itself. It feels pretty nice, a little bit heavy. Overall, I think 1.25 kilos for the whole lot. Does feel a bit chunky. There's a nice rubberized finish on the bottom here. Gives it a nice bit of grip when you're holding it, and I really like that for tablet mode on these larger devices. That really makes a difference. The screen is good. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second because I've got some performance test results for you. But let's just go around the ports first. On this side, there's the power, there's the volume, and there's the Windows Home button. Now, if I just pull that out, you'll see there's a standard, and it goes all the way back to layback mode, which is good if you're using that stylus. There's another rubberized, or that is the rubberized part of the frame, and it's really actually quite good to just hold it around like this. It feels really nice. I'm not sure if it's going to damage the frame in any way, but it does feel pretty sturdy there, and it's infinitely adjustable. On the other side, we've got a headset port, USB 3 port, and a USB-C port with 3.1. Now, Acer claims that it will support display over that. I'm not quite sure what standards it's going to support. There's no Thunderbolt in there. So is this standard display port over USB-C? That's the Rev 1 standard. Or are they talking about something like a DisplayLink adapter, which would work with extra software and hardware over that port? I'm not quite sure, but that is where you'll get your display output through some sort of dongle. So no native display output. So bear that in mind when you're pricing this up. There's a headset port there. Sorry, that was the power port there. Also inside, Wi-Fi up to AC and a wide gig standard module in here. So there's another way of getting display and very personal area networking from this device. That's latency-free screen, keyboard, mouse. That's an interesting standard to be seeing on a device that starts at €800. So be interested to see what happens. Apparently there'll be a dock, a wide gig dock. We don't have any details on that at the moment. Right, let's get onto the screen. Now I've got a few statistics for you on display there. If you have a look, you'll see that the maximum brightness is around 345 nits. So that's not too bad. That's not way up there with some of the, for example, that Samsung Tab Pro S we tested recently, which has some really nice OLED characteristics for really bringing the brightness high, especially when you're outdoors and you've got the automatic brightness setting on. Now, you'll also notice that the sRGB values down there 96%, so there's a nice big color range here. Of course, this is IPS and it's a very high resolution screen. It is glossy, as you can see, but I will say that maybe because of that wide range of color coverage, that the deltas, the accuracies, maybe at those edges of the color space aren't that good. 8.4 the delta on the color. The grayscales are much better at 4.3. You want to be getting to 5 and below for the really perfect screens, but probably within the main working range of colors, I suspect that the deltas aren't too bad. And 8.4 isn't catastrophic. Over 10, you might be starting to get worried. So that is a little bit on the screen. Contrast 908:1, so this isn't your AMOLED infinite contrast screens, but it seems pretty good. Let's talk a little bit about that SSD. Now the SSD is a 256 gig module. Is that coming up on the screen properly? Yep. 256 gig module and peak concurrent read speed of 518 megabytes per second. The 4K write speed 76 megabytes per second. So that's a really nice, good, all-round balanced SSD. It's not up there with the PCIe SSDs, for example, the Surface Pro 4, the Surface Book 4, which have those really high 1 gig plus peak read and write speeds. But this is going to be fine for your office work and your multimedia work. Right, there is the standard GPU inside here. So we've got an HD 520, so don't expect big gaming performance out of this. This is not going to be a gaming device, and you can see there we've tested a few games for you. Couple of greens at low end settings. BioShock Infinite there, Rise of the Tomb Raider, the latest one there, which is a very heavy game, is not going to work even on low settings. So don't expect to be gaming on this. This is more your multimedia, maybe video, photo work, and really long-term office work and homework as well. One thing I haven't mentioned up until now is that this is fanless. So although it's got the Core i5 inside, you will not hear the fan at all. Now they've put a cooling loop in here. I'm not quite sure. I don't think it's a pumped cooling system. It's probably a cooling spreader similar to the one on the Surface Pro 4, which is obviously spreading the heat around. Now under load, we did see some throttling, but that was under really peak load, and that surprised me because I did expect this to warm up a little bit more than it does. You can get some temperatures of around 50 degrees on there, which is a little bit too warm, but that's again under our prime test and our firm up test, which really is not something you're going to do in your day-to-day work. Even gaming won't bring it up to that sort of temperature level. So in general, it's cool and it doesn't throttle, which is a great bit of design from Acer. I didn't really expect to have this higher quality all-round on this Acer product. You know, some of the stuff we've had in the past, I've had a little sort of one or two little issues. Anyway, there is one little issue we can talk about when we talk about battery life. So let's bring the battery life figures up for you, and you'll see we've got a 37 watt hour battery inside here, which is just a little bit less, about 10% less than the Surface Pro 3, Surface Pro 4, and similar devices like the Mix 700. So we're getting a little bit less battery life. The Wi-Fi browsing test result there, 5 hours and 20 minutes. Well, remember, this is Core i5 browsing speeds, so you're getting stuff done quicker on this than you wouldn't say maybe a Core M. So if you're interested in getting stuff done really quick, you might be getting more done on this in the same time as on a Core M device. It's that huggy principle, hurry up, get idle. Doesn't really affect too many people. The end effect is that we're probably looking at about 5.5 hours Wi-Fi browsing with 115 nits screen brightness. In the video playback test, that's a fair bit better. Usually you see the Wi-Fi and the video playback test coming neck and neck, maybe a little bit more on the Big Buck Bunny test, but this case, our test was 7 hours 46 minutes, so that's pretty good. Getting towards 8 hours of battery runtime on video playback. For that high resolution screen, not bad. Don't forget, we do our test at 150 nits. Right. First of all, before I take you to the overall scores, I need to tell you to head over to notebookcheck.net for the full review of this Acer Switch 12 Alpha. A lot more detail on the screen, a lot more testing on, for example, things like PC Mark. I did have a PC Mark test set up, but I haven't actually got it queued up for you, so I can't show you that. In terms of PC Mark 8 Office scores, it was up there, plus minus 2 to 4% on some of the high-end 2-in-1s, and well above some of the others. So it's a really interesting performance prospect you've got here with this Alpha 12. I quite like it. I think it's a little bit clunky, heavy, not clunky, heavy, but I do like the design, and I like this rubberized bit on the side, which is actually forming part of the frame there. Right, let's go to the overall scores, and you'll see we scored at 87%. I'm going to point out a couple of bad scores for you there. The speaker, terrible built-in speaker on this, so don't expect anything too good in terms of the built-in audio, and the built-in camera isn't very good either. But apart from that, we've got a really good range of scores on there, and an overall sort of weighted, in terms of convertibles, a weighted average of 87%, which is a really good score. That's the Acer Switch 12 Alpha for you. Just a quick overview in this YouTube live stream. I hope you enjoyed this. Comments, as always, down below. I'd love to read those and feed back to you. How was the audio? How was the video quality? We're streaming out at 720p here, about 2 megabits per second. Couple of issues I had with the audio. I want to know if you spot those. If not, I'll leave things set up as they are. We're using a boom mic here rather than a lapel mic. I'd rather use a remote lapel mic to keep the volumes a little bit more level. But anyway, that is it for this review. Thanks for watching. My name's Chippy. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel for Notebook Check and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the website for the full review. I've got 2 more devices to do reviews on this week, and they are the Omen devices from HP. So gaming devices, I think I've got a 13 and a 15-inch version coming up for you. So we'll see you on those coming up soon on this channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.